Aw, yeah, we did it. Hello, everyone, and welcome on in. My name is Zeph, and today is going to be our first episode for my newest series I have going on in this channel. It is called Tech Pause, and we are going to be talking about esports. That's what the whole podcast is going to be about. And for today's episode, if you haven't already read the title, I graduated from Full Sail University, baby. Aw, yeah. So yeah, today I'm just going to be talking about my experience at Full Sail, how it all went. And for those that are watching this, you're probably asking yourselves or asking me through the screen like, hey, was it all worth it? So that's going to be the question of the day. Was it worth it? So to start off, we're just going to talk about my experience at Full Sail, kind of breaking down the pros and cons of it all to answer y'all's questions on it. At the end of the day, we're going into college to study something that we're really passionate for. And a lot of us don't know what we're doing in life. And I didn't know either. It wasn't until about 2020, 2021 when I figured out that Full Sail had this new bachelor's program called a Game Business and Esports. And I was a little bit on the fence about it. This is a new thing on the block. Well, not esports in general, but the education part of it is. And I wasn't too sure if, it was going to be worthwhile. So to give a little bit of a backstory, I had previously, before Full Sail, studied media arts. I was really into film and editing and all that kind of stuff. And I wasn't really quite sure what I wanted to do in the industry. However, when I finally came across Full Sail, I asked about their film program. I figured it might be something I wanted to do. And that's when the advisor on the phone was telling me about this new degree program, how it was probably something I was looking for. I basically told them that, I wanted to be one of the film operators on the set for these big esports events. And that's something that I just had a big interest on. So he guided me towards this degree program that focuses a lot on the gaming, focuses a lot on the business and marketing side of gaming and esports. Now, when I started going to Full Sail, I thought to myself, hey, this is pretty easy. It's pretty doable. Now, one of the biggest cons that Full Sail has is that it's an accelerated course. It takes about 2.5 years depending on your program or if you're campus online to finish your bachelor's. And for me, I wanted to catch up. I felt like to the people that had been going to college, I was lacking in that department, took a few gap years, and felt like I needed to catch up. It's definitely not a sprint. It's more of a marathon. And when you first start going to Full Sail, they start you off with some basic classes. It's really not until like after your first year where they start hitting you with heavier workload. Now, it's definitely doable. I can definitely say some months are harder than others. It'll keep you on your toes some months, but I feel like for the most part, anyone can do this degree program if you set yourself out to do it. Now, the education side of it all, the quality and content that they provide for you during the course is very helpful for working in the gaming industry. To briefly go over a little bit of what they talk about, they talk about events, budgeting, run of shows. They talk about proposals, the partnerships, how to do all that. They talk about the different revenue streams that go in and out of these different orgs. They also talk about how it all started, where we're at today, and what to kind of expect moving forward. Now, this information I feel like is definitely attainable if you are really looking for learning how esports works and all about it. I think that if you really do your research, you can find all of this information, but it's very difficult to find. I feel like going to school for esports and getting an esports degree, they teach you a lot, that you might not expect. I definitely was surprised with the different assignments that I was doing from time to time. Definitely getting out of my comfort zone. That was a big part of it all, and just learning new things. One thing that I really do appreciate having an esports degree and applying for esports jobs is understanding, or I guess realizing that you shine like a diamond compared to these other applicants. Most of these people that apply for esports jobs, that work events or work in production or work on the marketing and business side of it, they don't have an esports degree. Most people will tell you, you definitely don't need an esports degree to make it in this industry, and I do stand by on that statement. At the end of the day, it's all about who you know. I do firmly believe that connections is a big role in esports, and if you want to work your way up the chain, you really have to stand out to be able to climb those ranks a lot quicker. That being said, when I was applying to jobs, I felt like every single time I applied to a relevant job, at least, I was getting a call back, I was getting interviewed, and it really showed me that there is promising opportunities that arise from being at this school. There was even some months where your professors or my professors would reach out to me telling me that there's a job opportunity from a connection they have at EA or Blizzard, and they give you, a way in, essentially. The professors in this course are honestly a lot better than I thought they were going to be. Some more than others, but for the most part, these professors are well experienced. They have connections basically at every AAA company you could dream about working at, and they really help you understand the industry and how to get into it all. Now, one big thing that I really did not like about the course was how there was almost no assignments that covered the broadcast side of esports. For instance, there was one single class that told you about OBS and how to use it. And that's great and all, but you don't really need to be told how to open OBS. Anyone can find a link to it, download it, open it, and use it, right? So it kind of really did bother me how there was almost no classes at all that talked about vMix, which is an industry standard. For those that don't know, if you're ever in a production room, and I'll throw up a picture right here, being in the production room, it's like you're at a news station, and essentially at almost every big professional event that goes on in esports, they're using vMix to run it. And I was really sad that I didn't find out about vMix or how to use it at Full Sail, or at least taking the course. But that does not mean that they don't tell you anything about it. They do have a club, quote quote club, called Armada, the Armada Club at Full Sail, which essentially is their varsity teams where they consider their student athletes to be on these teams. And essentially, it's every esport title that you can think of: Rocket League, Valorant, Call of Duty, Overwatch, and they treat them as like student athletes at the school. Now, I'll talk about the collegiate side of esports at Full Sail in a different video. I was a varsity member for the Valorant team for over a year. It taught me a lot of different things. But I do want to just cover really quick how in the club they do have broadcasting opportunities there. You can either be an observer, you can be a caster, or you can be the producer kind of directing it all. You can do all of it in one, or you can kind of select what you want to do with it. But they do have that opportunity at the school. They just don't talk about it in the degree program, which really hurt me because I came to the school wanting to learn more about esports broadcasting, and I felt like we had one assignment that talked about OBS, and we probably had two or one assignments that talked about run of shows, which is very important if you are on the broadcast side of things, which is very beneficial. I will say the run of shows really prepare you for what's to come, but still, at the end of the day, I felt like they were very lackluster in this department. So that is one con I did have within it all. And another thing that I do have a concern about was the tuition cost. And obviously, this goes for anyone that's wanting to go to college. There's going to be college that, I promise you, or I didn't, and I'm sure the majority of you don't have daddy's money or daddy's credit card to just swipe off your debt off. And for me, it was a hard thing to bite down and say, I am going to pay a couple $1,000s to, study this. And yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money. I think my tuition costed me like 69,000 or 70,000, somewhere in that ballpark. And luckily, I had a scholarship that took off a big portion, like a quarter of the tuition off. And then I did get financial aid from the government, which cut my tuition down to about half or a little under half, which I am very grateful for. I probably would not go to Full Sail had I not gotten these opportunities to, cut down my tuition. So it's definitely a hard thing to swallow for anyone going to college, right? And one thing I will suggest for anyone that this is their concern is just think to yourself, if this is what you want to do in life, you should be willing to spare that money, because that money will definitely come back. And I definitely recommend reaching out to financial aid, getting as much scholarship money as you can to cut down the cost. I still think college is a scam in terms of how much money you have to put down and receive all the benefits from. I feel like it should definitely not cost that much. But at the end of the day, I still think everything was worthwhile, and I'm okay spending 20, 30 grand to pay it all off. Another thing within esports, and I really recommend this to anyone that is wanting to go into this degree or this field, and it's to stand out. A lot of the times it's about the connections that you make, and for you to be brought on from someone else, and someone just randomly hitting you up and asking if you want this job offer, you have to show initiative and you have to have a strong work ethic. There's a lot of people in this esports industry that aren't willing to do more than what they're asked for. Now, definitely know your worth and know, how much you're supposed to be doing compared to what you're willing to do. But at the end of the day, you have to be willing to show effort and wanting to do more than what you're asked of. Even if that means not even doing it, at least like showing up, standing up saying, I'm willing to do that if you want me to, is super important. I feel like I've standed out so many different times just because I was present, or I told them, like, hey, if you need help with that, I'm more than happy to help you in that regard. I do want to let y'all know too that it's not always so easy. I had the pleasure of having a lot of experience throughout my my time here at Full Sail. Within 2 years, I got to work like 5 different events with Optic Gaming, in which I worked COD Champs, one of the biggest events of the year, and did some work for Esports Engine, did some work for DreamHack, one of the biggest cons, gaming cons all year long. I got the pleasure of doing or working in Collegiate Esports, which I'm focusing on right now. Done some work for an esports, a high school esports league, doing shows and broadcast work for all of them. And like whenever I was starting out, I told myself, I want to I want to have at least an internship while I'm in school. And once I got that internship, it was like, okay, what's next? What's next on the list? How can we take another step forward? And I strongly recommend you guys go in with that mentality whenever you are going into school. Do focus on your studies. Of course, your homework comes first, but always be thinking about what the next step is, whether if it's another internship, another job, another connection that you want. Just always be thinking about the next step. It's really hard, especially with big orgs like Optic Gaming or Cloud9 or Riot Games even, to work your way up. And this is where I kind of piggyback on showing initiative, because I got hired for an Optic Gaming event. I previously had been dry emailing the person that runs it all, and they kind of just put me in their pool of connections. And when the next event came up, I applied for it, got it, and I was just a production assistant for that job. But I showed up with the camera and told my director, like, hey, if you need me to shoot content while I'm here, like, there's plenty of time. Just showing up and doing more than what was being asked of me, which wasn't much, to be quite honest. I feel like for a lot of esports gigs, I feel like the workload is not that hard unless you are some sort of project manager or broadcast director. And so you do have a lot of time to be able to do all kinds of things, and which you should be taking advantage of and showing what you're capable of to these people, so that way they bring you back. Every time I went back to an Optic Gaming event, they kept giving me another job with a higher pay raise, right? And to me, that the pay is always really good, right? Like, who doesn't want good pay?
Hello, I like money.
But it was about the experience. I was able to, work about every position that went into these events. And now my resume is looking good. Now that I'm finally out, like, I feel like I have very strong potential to land a job that I want. So definitely show up, do the best you can, because there's a lot of people looking to still get the job that you want. There's plenty of events that I worked where, I was talking to the guys there that, were working merge or working the registration booth, and they kept asking me, like, hey bro, like, how'd you get into the production room? Like, everyone's always trying to get into the production room, and to be quite honest with you, there's not enough spaces in that production room to hold everyone. They need 5-10 guys to run that that room, and there's like 50 people wanting that job. So it's definitely not easy working your way up, but make yourself as available, stand out as much as you can, and make deeper connections with these people. Anytime I showed up to these events, I was saying what's up to everyone. Didn't matter who it was. Even the security, I was fist bumping them. Just like going around showing your smile to everyone will go a very long way. Now, I don't want to make this video too long. A lot of y'all came in here with the big question of, was it worth it? Was getting an esports degree worth it? And I can confidently say to you that yes, it has definitely helped me get the opportunities that I wanted to. Well over what I thought I was going to. And it's really has helped me set myself up to not just work like broadcast stuff or events, but it's helped me set myself up to get a business job down the road if I ever want to do marketing or partnerships at a gaming studio. Like, there's a lot of potential here with this degree, and it's really all about how you use it and the connections that you make and how you show up to everything is what's going to make the difference. So if there was anything in this video that I did not cover, please go down in the comments, let me know. At the end of the day, I loved this degree. I would 100% do it all over again. I would tell myself at a younger age to look out for this. And if you're in high school or whatever it is, you're thinking about college, you're thinking about an esports degree, If you have any other questions, please let me know in the comments. I will be doing more esports videos, podcast videos in the near future. We will be talking about collegiate esports in the next video. And yeah, make sure you guys leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time.